lads. Give us this, lads. This game of hurling. Hold on, hold on. Jesus wept. Just keeps turning up. Picking the wrong fight.
Brant! Turn around! No touch!
You talking about that cop killer? We tried to convict you, but you were innocent.
Detective Tom Brant is tasked with tracking down a serial killer who targets police officers. However, the killer continually evades capture, frustrating Brant at every turn.
Can we come in?
It's in the post. I know you.
The story begins with Detective Sergeant Brant relaxing on the couch in his apartment when he hears a loud noise outside. Curious, he looks out the window and spots three young men trying to break into a car. Grabbing a hockey stick, he heads downstairs to confront them. As Brant approaches, the trio attempts to mug him.
In the Irish game of hurling. Hold on, hold on. Jesus wept.
As he walks away, he tells them to bring better weapons the next time they try to jump someone.
At least pick the right weapon.
The following day, Brant's supervisor confronts him over a newspaper article covering the incident, which paints him as a violent police officer.
You know we can't afford any more bad publicity.
Imagine you walk down the street. No, they're not carpet fitters.
Later that day, Brant accompanies Inspector Roberts to his wife's cremation before taking him to a pub for a drink. That same night, Officer Sarah is patrolling the streets when a man dressed in black bumps into her before sprinting away. Moments later, Brant and the other detectives receive word that Sarah has been murdered. Falls identifies the victim as a former classmate from the police academy, while Brant informs Superintendent Brown that a witness is waiting to be interviewed.
Yes, sir, there's a witness.
Brant later meets the witness, Anthony, who is out walking his two dogs. Anthony provides a description of the attacker and sadly remarks that he and Sarah attended the police academy together. The next day, Superintendent Brown introduces Sergeant Porter Nash as the temporary replacement for Chief Inspector Roberts while he is on leave. The detectives aren't thrilled with the decision, believing one of their own deserved the promotion instead.
He will instill a level of professionalism hitherto lacking in our primitives.
Crime reporter Dunlop receives a chilling phone call from an anonymous man claiming to have insider information about the recent attacks on police officers.
Reporting from inside the police killings.
Moments later, the caller approaches a parked police car and taunts the officer inside, asking him to choose a number between 7 and 8. After the officer answers, he immediately shoots the officer and escapes before his partner can intervene. News of the murder spreads quickly, throwing the entire police force into panic. Falls later asks Brant to help investigate the case. Their first stop is the gun dealer who sold the murder weapon. They demand a list of everyone who purchased that particular model before reviewing the shop's security footage. Unfortunately, the killer kept his back to the cameras, making identification impossible. Following a tip, Brant tracks down Radner, a member of Peacock Gym, who refuses to talk without payment. Rather than handing over money, Brant twists Radner's kneecap until he screams in pain.
You don't have the brains of a chicken, do you?
After letting him go, Brant decides he'll simply ask the gym manager himself.
From me, don't bother. I'll go to the gym. Ask the manager.
Later, Brant and Nash visit Barry Weiss at his home. Barry refuses to answer questions without a warrant, but the detectives force their way inside anyway. They question him about a disturbing video he uploaded online. Barry insists he merely recorded the incident and had nothing to do with it. Finding nothing incriminating, the detectives leave. As soon as they're gone, Barry begins packing his belongings, unaware that Radner is secretly watching him. After Barry leaves, Radner searches through his trash and discovers a parking receipt from Weymouth, which he pockets as a potential lead. Meanwhile, Barry selects his next victim, Inspector Roberts. he follows Roberts home, disables the building's CCTV cameras, and disguises himself as a satellite TV technician. When Roberts answers the door and says he has already paid the bill, Barry pulls out a gun. Roberts immediately fights back, knocking the weapon aside. Desperate to defend himself, he grabs a hammer from his toolbox, but Barry overpowers him, snatches the hammer away, and brutally beats him to death. Barry then changes into Roberts' police uniform, sets the building on fire, and escapes. As he flees, he calls Dunlop and describes the murder in detail, before revealing his alias Blitz, short for Blitzweiss. He later dumps the stolen clothes in a parked vehicle. Elsewhere, Radner locates Barry's abandoned car and searches it, uncovering several pieces of incriminating evidence. Hoping to cash in, he contacts Dunlop and offers the information for £50,000.
I know the name of the cop killer.
How much you want?
$50K in cash.
Radner meets Dunlop and hands over the evidence recovered from Barry's car. Unbeknownst to either of them, Barry watches from a distance before following them to a nearby bar. Dunlop pays Radner, who heads to the restroom to count his money. Barry quietly follows him inside. Panicking, Radner insists he never revealed Barry's identity, but Barry doesn't care. He drags him into a stall and drowns him in the toilet before calmly leaving with the cash. When the police arrive, Brant snatches a drinking glass from the bartender for fingerprint analysis before joining Nash to question Dunlop. After learning about the car parked at Weymouth and the evidence Radner had discovered, they rush to the parking lot, only to find that Barry has already cleaned out the vehicle.
What now?
That evening, Falls goes on her date with Craig, unaware that Barry is watching them. Meanwhile, Brant and Bates review every officer who previously arrested Barry. Brant suddenly realizes that every murdered officer had arrested Barry at some point, and Falls is next on the list. After dinner, Craig drives Falls home. Expecting a goodnight kiss, she is disappointed when he simply opens the car door and says he'll call her later. Embarrassed and annoyed, she storms toward her apartment. Just as her phone rings, she senses someone standing behind her. She spins around and ducks as a hammer whistles past her head. Barry attacks, sending both of them tumbling down the stairs. Falls rushes to John's side only to realize he's dead. Moments later, Brant, Nash, and several officers arrive. Based on Falls' description, they finally identify their suspect as Barry Weiss. The next day, Brant and Nash search Barry's apartment but find nothing that directly links him to the murders. With no better option, they release Barry's identity to the public. Soon afterward, the taxi driver who picked Barry up recognizes him on the news and immediately contacts the police.
Room 7.
The police track Barry to Dean's Court, but he stays one step ahead and escapes through a window. Brant spots him and takes off in pursuit. Eventually, Brant catches up to Barry. Just as he's about to beat him senseless, Barry suddenly surrenders.
We've got it.
2 days later, Barry is released from custody and walks out smiling, carrying his belongings. Before leaving, he locks eyes with Brant and promises they'll meet again. Thrilled by the media attention surrounding him, he heads off to celebrate while Superintendent Brown assures the team that Barry will remain under constant surveillance.
Keep him out of trouble.
Back at his apartment, Barry puts on Robert's police uniform and heads to Robert's funeral, where he blends in among the mourners. He notices Brant quietly leaving the service and decides to follow him. Brant drives to a parking garage and calls the surveillance team, who confirm that Barry has left his apartment. What they don't realize is that Barry is following Brant. Brant enters the underground garage. After briefly losing sight of him, Barry stops to inspect Brant's car before spotting someone entering the emergency stairwell. Believing it's Brant, he follows the figure to the rooftop. Brant suddenly emerges from hiding, knocks the gun from Barry's hand with a crowbar, forces him to his knees. Brant calmly explains that his own name has already been cleared, making him an innocent officer once again. He points out that Blitz targets police officers in uniform, and Barry is wearing Robert's uniform while holding the murder weapon linked to the killings. With that, Brant shoots him. Nash quickly collects the weapons and disposes of the evidence before the two detectives calmly ride the elevator back down. In the final scene, Brant gets his own back on reporter Dunlop by setting dogs loose on him, delivering one last act of vigilante justice for the relentless smear campaign against him. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps the channel grow.